TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.
Hello, I'm Phil Blizzard in Dubai with this TravelWise podcast, which is an interview special. Now, my guest on this occasion will provide insights to the current travel aviation landscape, and with his huge experience from the industry, we can expect from him insights into the future of travel and tourism. So my special guest is Ross Veitch, CEO and co-founder of the online travel marketplace called Wego.com.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.
Well, on the program today, I'm joining Ross Veitch over in Singapore. He's CEO and co-founder of Wego, one of the big online travel, what should we say, marketplaces. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
So let's start off. Wego, I mean, you've been established for a long, long time, mainly for the market in Asia and Pacific region and where we are, well, where I am, the Middle East. So give us an overview of what you do.
Yeah, sure. So we started in Southeast Asia over a decade ago, expanded into the Middle East about 8 years ago now. And these days, we're very much dual headquartered, Dubai, Singapore, and we operate across MENA and APAC markets. We have an office in the Dubai Internet City, which we're just beginning to reopen tenderly. And we got another. We do most of our sort of product engineering work in Singapore,
right?
And Dubai is sort of our commercial hub for the Middle East, and we do a lot of our run a lot of our key partnerships out of Dubai. Until we got locked down, I used to sort of go back and forth between the two. So if anybody asked me, so where do you live? It's on like EK.
Yeah, EK.
I'm a resident of EK.
Yeah, above the Indian Ocean, 38,000 feet or something. Okay, yeah. So Singapore for the IT expertise and talent there, I suppose, and Dubai being very much the business side of what you do. So how important is the Middle East region to you when it comes to, normal circumstances, normal business?
Yeah, the MENA region's now, a majority of our business. So we sort of realized pretty early on there was a big untapped opportunity there, and sort of went in before most other online travel companies. And now I'm happy to say we're sort of a leader. We're one of the leading online travel brands. I think there's cumulatively now is about 40 million people who've downloaded the Wego app on onto their iPhone or onto their Android device.
40 million, wow.
40 million, yeah. It's about 10 million actives a month.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, I might say, pre-COVID.
Of course.
The Gulf specifically is a very interesting market. So it was relatively underdeveloped in terms of online penetration when we arrived, but it accelerated super fast. And people in the Gulf, they travel a lot. So high frequency, nice high basket sizes.
And you say about the growth of travel in and out of the Middle East. Quite a few factors driving that. And I suppose one thing is the growth of the low-cost carriers in many ways who have driven so much traffic in and out of the region.
Yeah, low costs have been a big driver, globally, and the Middle East is no exception. I think probably more significant for the Middle East are the big Gulf carriers. The numbers they're moving are massive. The low costs, they keep them honest in terms of their pricing strategies, and the low costs help often open up secondary markets, secondary destinations before the big guys are ready to go in with their bigger planes.
Absolutely. Well, for example, Fly Dubai here has enabled me to go to places like Montenegro, Georgia, for example, Tbilisi, destinations which weren't didn't make sense for the big carriers to go in there, and also some operational issues as well because of the size of runways with the big 777s and A380s, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not every airport can take a sort of an A380 landing and sort of disembarking all at once.
So you are more than just online flight bookings, aren't you? So what is the portfolio of services you offer to the traveller under normal circumstances?
Yeah, so Wego runs a sort of online travel marketplace model. So we aim to help the traveler, connect with other sellers of travel services. So it's principally flights and hotels today. We have some other things, cooking that will be released, relatively soon. But our key value proposition is that we help you shop the entire market for all the products and all the price points. So whether you want to book directly with your favorite airline, or whether happy to book with one of the travel agencies. We have them all active on the platform, and it's the global brands, people like Booking.com and Expedia, as well as the local brands, so the Clear Trips of the world, Taja World.
So what are you focusing on at the moment? What are you able to offer in these days of considerable lockdown in so many countries and destinations?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of travel happening now, obviously. So we've been now, as destinations are beginning to open up again, and as airlines are beginning to publish their schedules for June, July, August. We're trying to do that in reverse. So we're trying to help you start to think about where you might want to go later on in Q3.
Sure. So coming on to that, what's your perception of the new normal?
Yeah, I was going to say, before the airlines actually start up, we think, so people like to go around Eid, right? So jumping on a plane is not going to be an option this year. So I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for options around the UAE. And you're blessed with some awesome resorts and hotels, and the hoteliers and the tourism boards are spending a lot of time thinking about how to reopen safely.
Sure.
So we're working with the same hotels and tourism boards to sort of communicate to the market exactly what steps are being taken, and then as a traveler what you can expect, and what you should be doing to protect yourself. Absolutely. But how you can actually get you and your family out of the house and actually have a an experience other than your living room.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.
What we're keeping an eye on is resumption of normal services, or whatever the new normal services is going to equate to.
So coming on to that, what's your perception of the new normal?
Yeah, I was going to say, before the airlines actually start up, we think, so people like to go around Eid, right? So jumping on a plane is not going to be an option this year. So I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for options around the UAE. And you're blessed with some awesome resorts and hotels, and the hoteliers and the tourism boards are spending a lot of time thinking about how to reopen safely.
Sure.
So we're working with the same hotels and tourism boards to sort of communicate to the market exactly what steps are being taken, and then as a traveler what you can expect, and what you should be doing to protect yourself. Absolutely. But how you can actually get you and your family out of the house and actually have a an experience other than your living room.
The cabin fever is hitting us, and I'm seeing each day actually more and more hotels are now offering staycations. They're also beginning to talk about procedures in place to make you feel comfortable, make you feel safe. Hilton, for example, just one hotel group doing some amazing things with cleansing of rooms and putting a seal around the door so you can tell that room has not been, no one's gone into that room since it was last had its good comprehensive clean. So quite a few innovative procedures being put into place, or practices being put into place. Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of people searching on the platform, looking for options. So I mean, I think there's a lot of pent up demand. We're also seeing people looking for flights a bit further out. So people looking forward to being able to travel again. And so flights are obviously going to take a little while longer to come back, and the airlines and the different governments are still trying to figure out how to move people around safely. And I don't think we know quite what that's going to look like yet. But there's a few models beginning to emerge. One is basically getting tested everywhere you go. Yeah. So on arrival at the airport,
a COVID-19 passport stamp to say you're clear to travel is one.
Correct. I saw this week Vienna airport in Austria is now offering a sort of a 3-hour turnaround PCR COVID test on arrival. So I think it was about €200. Yeah. So you either do that or you get quarantined for 14 days.
which is what the British government are talking about at the moment as well. So, so I mean, I'm surprised that some governments have not been a bit stricter in some ways in terms of flights going in from hotspots, but that's a political issue to talk about on another occasion, perhaps. So, looking at
if I could, Phil, I mean, I think the others, I think you'll see that testing in some destinations, particularly where you've got a plane arriving from a destination which doesn't really have spread under control yet. Yeah. But I think between countries where the spread is more or less being managed, and you're doing widespread testing, contact tracing at scale, like is happening across the GCC. I think between green zones, I think bilateral travel corridors will open up sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. So for example, Germany, which has got a low figures, very good testing, and now being perceived by the European destinations as a good source market because of what the country has done. So you say Germany would be seen as a green zone. So from Germany into, say, the Balearic Islands, for example, it looks like a very good channel or routing.
Yeah, so we're seeing a few of these, they're calling bubbles emerging. So Australia and New Zealand is probably going to be one of the first. Then between some of the East Asian countries that have got it under control, similar. I'm hopeful that the GCC will be able to figure this out. Yeah. So it would be great if travel could resume again between the UAE, Saudi, Kuwait, Bahrain.
Yeah,
Oman.
And on the basis of what you're saying, from the UAE across to Australia and New Zealand, probably where you are, Singapore as well.
Yeah, similarly, it'd be great if we could connect, the great business hubs of the respective regions together again.
Absolutely.
Great for my life.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.
So if we look ahead, I mean, looking at your business, Wego, you are one of many, many travel aggregators, shall we say, in the market. Are they all going to survive, do you think?
I think travel is like most other sectors. I mean, travel's actually been hit harder than most other sectors, but there's going to be consolidation in pretty much every sector, in pretty much every geography. So, the world economy and the most industries are going to emerge very differently from this. Sure. I think Wego will survive this. With our model actually lends itself well to times when people are watching their pennies a little tighter than they would otherwise. So we help you find value in the marketplace and to find the deals in the market. So we've been through recessions in various markets we've operated before, and actually our business actually grows during tough times. So consumers are shopping around more aggressively. Yeah. But our partners in the travel trade are also willing to try more things, and digital channels are the easiest places to try them. So
absolutely.
I mean, that said, I'm a realist. Travel demand is going to be significantly down on what it was last year, and it's going to take some time for it to come back to where it was. But the Middle East is a pretty resilient part of the world. I think people are able to keep risks in proportion. I think governments are doing sensible things. And travel and trade are lifebloods for the region, right? So
it is absolutely, sure.
It has to come back.
It's got to. So the virtual platform we're on at the moment has opened up a lot of opportunities. You say the travel industry are open to new ideas, but on the aspect of MICE meetings, I mean, so many big events. I'm thinking of Singapore and also Dubai, where so many conferences, so many meetings are being held. People are now switching quite elaborately to online conferences, seminars. The Arabian Hotel Investment Conference has been doing an amazing couple of things. The Arabian Travel Market, beginning of next month, will be holding a virtual Arabian Travel Market. So do you think this will have a long-term impact, and some of these events might come away from the calendar or be changed to a smaller size, perhaps, and more engagement will be continuing after COVID-19 has been resolved online? Yeah,
possibly. I mean, I think it's often said it takes a month, of constant repetition to develop a new habit, right? And I think we've all had more than a month of operating our business in very different fashion. And I think some of these some of these virtual approaches will stick. I think a lot of companies are figuring out that they actually have the platforms in place to go fully virtual, and that's got some pretty big ramifications for a lot of the big business hubs of the world, actually. But to the question about will people still want to meet at exhibitions and conferences? Virtual gets you so far.
Sure.
You can learn online. You can do some degree of networking online, but there's a lot of things happen at conferences that are it's difficult to simulate in a virtual environment. A lot. Just being in the same place as all of your partners, your competitors, the analysts that cover the space, investors interested in the space. Yeah, and a lot of things happen spontaneously, right? So there's a lot to be said for turning up still, I think.
Well, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. A couple of things before we finish. One is I've been asking to everyone I've been talking with, doing chats like this and interviews, once we're able to get up and travel, what's going to be number one on your bucket list? So I'm thinking of from a more of a personal stroke leisure perspective rather than business, because business you said you want to come into Dubai anyway. So what's top of your bucket list?
Yeah, Dubai will be the first on the agenda as soon as the flights open up again. I'm a big fan of Bali. It's not really on the bucket list. It's sort of some place I go a couple of times a year.
It's very close to you, isn't it? So in Singapore.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's very simple to duck down to.
A bit like us hopping down to Muscat or somewhere in Oman, for example, for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And to finish off, really, looking at the Wego platform website, more than just bookings, you've got a very informative part of it for information and blogs as well. So a good source of information in these times, and also inspiration for places to go to in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we're pushing an update out to the app. It's probably going to be live end of this week, early next week. Specifically designed to help keep people up to date as new destinations open up, new airlines start flying again. So if you haven't already got the Wego app installed now, would be a great time to go download it, and you'll be the first to know about all the new travel opportunities reopening to you.
Ross, thanks very much indeed for joining us here on the program. Thanks very much, and stay safe.
Thanks, Phil. Look forward to doing it in person next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you take care. Stay safe.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.
Many thanks to my special guest, Ross Veitch, and in future editions of TravelWise, when it comes to interviews, we can expect more from leading figures in the travel, tourism, and aviation industry. And next time, we'll be talking to Samira Isaac, CEO of the World Travel Forum. I'm Phil Blizzard in Dubai. Stay safe, and I look forward to joining you soon for another edition of the TravelWise podcast.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.